The evil from the underworld gets an upgrade. Here's your look at the Spawn Mutations Series 23, Malebolgia. One of the most pivotal moments in the history of Spawn's story occurred with the death of his master Malebolgia. But what if this event had gone differently? What if Malebolgia had not died? Spawn Mutations reveals a twisted vision of the Spawn world that could have been. Malebolgia, ruler of the underworld, is attacked and mortally wounded by his creation Spawn, but Malebolgia calls out to his evil minions, the Flebiac brothers, who obediently rush to their master's aid. In a desperate attempt to preserve his existence, Malebolgia savagely devours his servants' powers and strength. The 6 eyes of Vaporizer, the tough hide and claws of Vandalizer, the horn of Vindicator, and other powers now course through Malebolgia's reconstructed body. Now is the time to plot his revenge on Spawn's treacherous actions. Well, I suppose we're going to go ahead and measure off the figure. I was going to go from here, the end of his claw, to the end of his tail, but then I realized you probably want to know more so how tall the figure is. We're going that route. I posed a vote silently. Each individual of the mob was given a ballot and checked it off. Many of you guys just kind of talked amongst yourself, saying, well, what are you voting for? Oh, you're voting that? I'm going to go with that too. That's voting process for you. We're going to go instead to the very top of his head, right there. Voting also is currently occurring here in Canada. I guess in the States, you guys vote near the end of the year. Canada, we do it around the October time frame. So there's a lot of voting going on right now. You want to talk scary stuff. Scary stuff is who you're going to be voting in, but I'm not going to talk about that stuff here. We're talking action figures, not the world. Anyways, according to the Ultra Megatron 5000, here to here is this right here, 7.7 inches in height. And that works in centimeters out to be 19.6, almost 20 centimeters tall. Yes, voting can be awfully a scary thing. We're not going to talk about that here. Obviously, you guys are here to talk figures, and I'm all about talking shop with you guys. I've been doing it for 10 plus years, and we're going to keep pushing forward. This is what the Malebolgia to the right looks like next to the Mutations Spawn to the left. So it happened to be the first figure that we had a look at. The Malebolgia Brock Lesnar tattoo creature. I'm trying to actually now think of what I could combine, and I don't know. Leave it with me. But you can see the two figures side by side. Malebolgia is considerably longer, but I guess when you're looking at them height-wise, the figures are about the same height to one another. Just Spawn is just a little bit smaller. Just a little bit smaller than Malebolgia. The figure itself is an exquisite spectacle of plastic. In fact, when I was collecting the Spawn Mutations line, I sort of built everything around this particular figure. I picked up Malebolgia first and foremost. Then I think I might have picked up Al Simmons. And then after that, I was kind of just picking up the figures along the line, and I had to complete out the rest of them. I think Kin was the last figure that I picked up. Yeah, you guys don't need to know the story behind that. What I can tell you, though, is Malebolgia was a figure I've wanted to review for a long time. And just chalk it up to the fact that I had to kind of complete out the rest of this wave in order to kind of do what I feel like is a fully invested series of reviews. We're not going to half it here. No way, no way. Here, we full it. We don't half it. So I wanted to make sure I had the rest of the figures in tow before we resumed with the rest of this review. But Malebolgia clearly, and I say this with no level of doubt whatsoever, if anybody was to tell me, why do you review or why do you even pick up and collect action figures, would be probably the more specific question to be asked. Why do you collect action figures? The proof is in the pudding of Malebolgia. He is an exquisite piece. I'm struggling to tell you what's really on my mind, and I know I'm a tough person at times to actually be able to gauge what I'm feeling, but let me just tell you, I adore this figure. It's a good kind of setting the bar rather high, isn't it? It is. It sets the bar quite high. Okay, so let's have a look at Malebolgia. Like I said, there is a lot to take in. I'm going to do my best, as I normally do on this channel, to kind of give you as much extensive details on these figures as I most possibly can. Now, the thing about this particular creation of Malebolgia is, of course, he has pulled traits from the various Flebiac brothers. I don't know if it's Flebiac. It's P-H-L-E-B-I-A-C. I almost at times even thought it was going to be Flebiac. Anyways, he did pull the traits from those in order to survive. So, of course, he has notable traits from those brothers. For example, the 6 eyes of Vaporizer. You can probably already see right off the bat. Kind of looks like a spider looking back at you. I guess from here, it looks like one of the regular brothers. Maybe, perhaps, I'm trying to think if that is maybe Vandalizer. Kind of looks a little like Vandalizer right here. The notable long tusk-like claws, or I guess horns, if you will, would be the notable trait, I suppose, of Violator. But yeah, again, there's so much really to take in on this particular figure. Like, looking at it, it kind of looks like a horned demon spider looking right back at you. The coloring on the eyes just make the figure pop in a way that I never thought a figure could pop. You can see that the skin itself, the hide, if you will, is done in a very dark, kind of has a slight greenish tint to it. It's brownish, and then it's kind of accented here with a darker gray. It's so exquisite to look at. I guess only what could add to the additional appeal of this particular figure is if it could have an open and closed mouth, which sadly it doesn't. Kind of looks like a cross between a spider, Violator, and a terror dog from Ghostbusters. Ah, we nailed it. We nailed it. I'm looking at the producers. Producers are giving thumbs up. We nail it? We nailed it. All right. Kind of does look like a little bit like a terror dog. You can really see so much of the terror dog aspects of it. I'm not really sure why specifically the jaw has to be such a different discoloration from the rest of the face. Here it's more of a dark gray. Then here, for no reason whatsoever, it just cuts off and it becomes a lighter shade. A small, and believe you me, a small nitpick for an otherwise cool looking figure. The figure is considerably long too. When you get it out of packaging, surprisingly enough, there is no assembly that's required other than one thing. No, not its legs. No, not its arms. No. You're way off. You're cold. Warm. Warmer. Oh, you're in molten lava. It's actually this horn right here that you have to install. Unfortunately, because you have to install it, it does result in the horn feeling a little looser than this horn right here. And when you do get this out, the horn is sort of tucked in on the one side, so you just want to straighten it out. And then it looks a little bit more like a bull, a very demonic terror dog bull looking right back at you. Let's get a gander at some of the other features on this figure. I like the little spots located on the side. They kind of look a little bit like a hyena. And then the hind legs, of course, you kind of get more the feeling like a demon. I think of the big hooves of, for example, the darkness from Legend. God, there's a lot to really like on this particular figure. You've got the horns sticking out, little claws, I guess, protrusions sticking out from the arms. Big, mammoth size. Imagine if one of those got a hold of your face, taking it clean off. There would be nothing left. Identifying you? You silly goose. They would never be able to identify you with how much of your face would remain. Teeth, long gone. Everything on your face would be gone if these claws latched onto you. The claw, unfortunately, serves as a stable footing for this particular figure. While this claw, you can kind of entertain the idea of doing stuff with it. Like he could signal for a cab, for example. But unfortunately, this foot is specifically designed as the third leg, if you will, on a demonic tripod. Yes, there is some articulation on the arms, but little to nothing will help aid in stabilizing this figure unless you have the front claw always flat on the surface. As for the rest of the figure, you've got some spikes sticking out from the top of its back and some additional horns protruding out as well. I kind of like this. It's this for no reason whatsoever. It's just sort of a fanged tail reminding me of those creatures that crawled into the ears. Oh, Chekhov. Star Trek II. What a gruesome thing. These little fanged-like creatures. One thing also I quite like about this, if you flip it up, on the very top of its head, it actually has an opened mouth. Something like the Thing. I'm kind of just rhyming these off, aren't I? Boom, boom, boom. Thing. Terror-Dog. Violator. Spider. Okay, we'll stop. Producers are saying, we'll just move on. One thing that's neat about it, though, is if you angle it in a certain way, it kind of looks like a demon head, where the eyes are here, the nose, and then the open mouth. And then you've got, of course, the tongue sticking out. I almost feel like a hand should be in there, and this closes shut, kind of like in the Thing. But you can see there's a whole lot of stuff going on in there. The tongue isn't posable, it's just a soft plastic. Boy, that's so cool. Then also, we can look at the underbelly here. There is articulation right here. This section does, in theory, rotate. It doesn't rotate much, and it really doesn't aid in all making the figure look that much cooler, but it does have some rotation happening right here. It's just a little on the stiff side. In fact, actually, why don't we have a look at the articulation on this guy, and then we'll wrap up for today. Like I said, there is no articulation in the mouth. The one thing I think that could have made this figure just a sugar packet more cooler than it would have been already. I know that's such a small unit of measurement. The head doesn't have any articulation because, again, like so much of this is sort of one big thing that's happening as a collective. You have articulation in the horns. You can move those horns back and forth, and these are also ball jointed, so you can move those up if you want a little bit more so. The arm is on a hinge. This arm right here is on a hinge, and this arm also is on a hinge. But you can't really do too much with this arm, as we've already discussed. But really, a lot of your creative juices can only flow with having the articulation move on the arm right here. The arm hinges out, it moves forward and back, and it swivels also on the forearm, basically where the elbow is. It swivels back and forth, and you can also rotate the hand. I don't really know what position you would want to get it in. I guess something just maybe like that would be suffice to say good enough. It does have articulation, a ball joint in the torso. And then for the legs, well, this is it. He's right now waiting for me to move something. He barely tried. Okay, nothing moves on the back legs. Completely staction. They're simply just softer, rubbery plastic. And there's no articulation on the back either as well. So it's basically just hinges on the arms, swivels on the forearms here, or on this arm not so much. This arm, yes, and then swivels on the hands, and articulation there as well. That's it. Really, what you're getting from this guy is not the fact that you're going to be getting all creative with the way you want to display the figure. You're just sitting back with maybe popcorn and admiring what a spectacle this figure actually is. Clearly, as you probably could gauge over the course of this review, a tough man, yes, I am to read. I adore this figure. I can't stress this enough. I adore Malebolgia from Spawn Mutations, Series 23. Yeah, you're a pretty hard person to read. Am I? Not even close. So transparent I was over the course of this review. I'm disappointed in a way. I have to come clean a little bit. Disappointed in the fact that I waited as long as I did to have a look at the Spawn Mutations Series 23 Malebolgia. I love the figure when I first picked it up, but being the completionist that I am, I felt compelled that I couldn't simply just do the review of this guy and this guy alone. Sure, my excitement level for this would still be oozing out of my pores, but I feel like I wouldn't be doing a proper service unless we had a look at the entire wave. You know what I'm all about on this channel, having a look at the entire wave. So that would be why I waited as long as I did. At least now I can reap the benefits of having finally a look at this wave, because I can enjoy this figure finally out of the packaging where it deserves to be. An ongoing argument between collectors is whether you really want to keep things in packaging all the time, or take it out of its plastic prison, let it breathe, and put it on display. In a case like Malebolgia, this is a figure that looked good in the packaging, but looks 1,000 times better physically out on display, something you can put on a shelf. The figure doesn't feel dated. In fact, looking at it nowadays, it looks just as good, and my enjoyment in it is just as much as it was when I first picked up the figure so many years ago. If you manage to pick up this one for yourself, let me know down below in the comments section what you guys think of Malebolgia. It is a stunning, stunning looking figure. I'm not even bothered by the fact that his other hand, on the other hand, kind of looks like he's asking for a little pinch of sugar. Or he's asking for your soul. I never quite really understand completely what Malebolgia says, because a lot of times it just is mumbling. He could be asking for sugar. He could be asking for your soul. Either way, I probably wouldn't open the door for him. But let me know down below what you guys think of this figure. I always like when you guys weigh in. I was like shooting the breeze with you guys, talking shop, if you will. So let me know what you guys think, if you've picked it up for yourself, or just based on this review and this review alone. I can probably already tell you, I really like this figure. You're a tough person to read. I'm really not. I'm really not. Hit that subscribe button, members of the mob. While you're also at it, swing next door to that bell notification and turn that on as well. And stay tuned, because there's going to be a whole bunch of videos coming your way. Of course, Spottober is still going to be running for at least another week or so. If I'm looking at my calendar correctly, I'm looking over. It says 2012, so I'm not looking at my calendar correctly. But I can tell you, we're going to have a whole bunch of other spooky spots coming up onto this channel, so keep your peepers peeled. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Oh, and as well, just a reminder again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, swing next door, turn on the bell notification. I have to stress that, because with YouTube changing all the time, you want to make sure that you're not missing out on all the stuff that's coming onto this channel. And let me tell you, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming onto this channel. As always, guys, producers are turning off the lights. Yeah, they're leaving for the day. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.